Okay, so I want you to imagine your income. It could be last year's total income for a period of 12 months, or it could be a monthly income average. Let's say you made, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000 a month for a certain period of time. I want you to just picture that in your mind. Put it right there, whatever that income number is. Then I want you to just add a zero to it. Now you have to make sure you add the zero on the right side. I mean, if you put it over on the left-hand side, it doesn't do anything. But if you add it in on the right side, what it does is it effectively adds a 10x to your business. That means if you were making $50,000 last year, and next year you're making $500,000. If you were making $100,000 last year, next year you're making $1 million. If you were making $1 million last year, next year you're making $10 million. Today's show is how to get paid what you're worth. And on today's show, I'm going to be unveiling strategies that have proven themselves to add a zero to help businesses 10x. This is EdTalks Live, and we're on. I want you to imagine two people. In fact, these two people walked into this very office that I'm sitting in 12 years ago. I want you to imagine walking right into this door. I used to have a little conference area. This office space over here is now used more like a storage area and a workout room, but I used to have a conference room sitting right in this office right here. And I want you to imagine two people come walking in this door. This is a true story about something that happened 12 years ago. The first person walking into the door is a 6'4" former Army Special Forces master. I mean, this guy is powerful. This guy is strong. Now, up until this point, not all that successful in business, frankly, but man, when you saw this guy come walking in the room, you thought, this guy's got something going on. The next person who walks into the room, she's about 65 years old. She doesn't carry herself like the Army guy does. In fact, she's just a little bit bent over and very humble, and she comes walking into the room and she sits down in the chair next to the Army Special Forces person. Looking at the two of them, you can see the contrast simply in the body. And over the next 2 days, I unveiled strategies. 12 years ago, I was teaching internet marketing stuff, actually. And I unveiled some strategies that I was using online to begin helping people and to grow an income. And as I was sharing those strategies, the former Army Special Forces guy was taking notes, and this woman, the 65-year-old woman, was sitting there and taking notes. They were both taking notes, and as they left on day 2, if you had asked anyone in that room, if you said, hey, let's start making some bets, who's going to be the first person to go out there and crush it? Who's going to be the first person who's going to make all of this money? If we were to take bets, there were 10 people training in that room that day. If we took bets, I would argue that every single person betting that day would have said, you know, that big Army guy, he's going to go crush it. Now, here's what happened in real life. The Army guy actually didn't do anything with the information that was delivered that day. But that woman, the unsuspecting, humble, unnoticed person, went out that next week and she did a webinar online and offered a product at $497. She had 50 people on her webinar, and 8 of those people bought her $495 product. Now, if you just round it up to $500, you see that that person made $4,000, but it doesn't end there. Over the next week, she made 5 more sales. 5 times 500 is another $2,500. She made $6,500 simply off the information that she learned here in a room. 2 people with the same information. One goes down a road of no implementation. The other one goes down a road to simple implementation. One makes money and one doesn't. Now, here's the rest of the story. I didn't find out about that $6,500 until weeks later. I had a coaching call with this client of mine. Her name was Marilyn. And she got on the phone and I said, hey, Marilyn, how are things going? And she said, Ed, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't even want to get on the call with you today. She said, I just feel so bad. I don't think that I did what you told me to do. And I said, well, Marilyn, tell me what happened. And she goes, well, I did this webinar, and I had 50 people that signed up. And of the 50 people that signed up, only 13 people bought my product. I said, Marilyn, let me ask you a question. How much was that product? She said, $500. I said, so wait a second, 13 out of 50 people, so 26% of the people that signed up for your webinar and attended your webinar bought your product. She said, yeah, I know, it's horrible. I'm sorry, Ed, I'll do better next time. And I said, Marilyn, just so you know, I'm like a pro at this stuff, and when I do it, I don't get any better than 10%. She goes, really, 10%? I said, you more than doubled my success. Now, the point of that story is here to tell you simply this. It doesn't matter where you come from, okay? It doesn't matter what your story is. It doesn't matter necessarily what your offer is. One of the most important things that you can know coming off of this training is very simple. It's the one who takes action. It's the one who implements that sees the results. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about how to get paid what you're worth. If you just joined us, this is part 2 of actually what's going to end up being a 3-part series sharing some of the strategies behind the scenes to show you how to get paid more, how to have a bigger impact on the world, and how to build your business around your lifestyle and not the other way around. But before I do that, as usual, I just want to say hello to some of our friends in chat. If you're not logged into chat, please jump in on the right-hand side. Say hello, tell me your name, where you're from, and what you do. We'd love to have you join the community and just say hello and enjoy the time with the folks who are here. There's always somebody early, by the way. Barry Gamir, you checked in this morning, by the way, at 9:21 Pacific. Good morning from Palm Springs. Ready for day 2 with the Professor of Purpose and Profit. Every day I get a new name. I love this. Dennis says, howdy. He said, I haven't heard anything yet, but I already clicked the like button. I appreciate that. By the way, there is a little thumbs up button. It sits right down here. All you have to do is click it. It's so easy. It's just click. So click that little like button. That tells YouTube that you're interested in this content. And right next to it, there's a little button that says share. Click that button too. Share it on your favorite social media platform. Have people come and say hello. Wendell Buggs, good morning. Good to see you, buddy. Gina, good to see you as well. Gina's been live streaming, man. I'm telling you. Jim Butts from California says, what's up? Hello, Jim. Good to see you. Matt Head as well. Hope you're doing great. Hello, Sally and Robert and Aubrey. Man, Cinco de Mayo. By the way, where are you at? Denise yesterday said, I thought she wrote a typo. She said, May the 4th be with you. And I thought, well, maybe she meant May the 4th be with you. I don't know. Then I realized yesterday was May the 4th because my daughter came up to me and said, May the 4th be with you. And I said, what? Wait a second. Everybody's saying this today. What's the deal with that? So she said, could we watch Star Wars last night? So we did. So just so you know, the Rush family, this is what the shirt's about. The Rush family, last night we watched Empire Strikes Back, which is one of the most, it's a great movie, by the way, remastered. One of the most overacted scenes in all of movies is in Empire Strikes Back. I won't tell you which one it was. And for those of you who might have Disney Plus, if you are watching The Mandalorian, hopefully you also realize with me that it is awful. Literally destroyed, the whole Star Wars universe was exploded in one series. All right. So hello, C. Salih, good to see you. Let's see, Roy, got up 7 calls today with business owners who can't stay long. I love it, man. Get Ed's course. Wow, thank you for that. Dude, I really appreciate you saying that. I might give you an opportunity to do that a little bit later on. Edwin Berry. Okay, so good question. I will actually cover this. The person who came to my training, here's what she did. She was a professional organizer, and she had a PowerPoint presentation that when she used it online, she got clients who would bring her into their homes to do organizing for a few $1,000s was what she charged. And she had a forum online where she met other professional organizers, and she did this webinar for the professional organizers. And in the webinar, she said, here's my PowerPoint. And this is what I do, and this is how I get deals. And if you want my PowerPoint, you can buy it for $500. And all she sold was her PowerPoint presentation for $500. It just goes to show. In a moment, I'm going to be sharing the 4 strategies for getting paid what you're worth. And the second one, by the way, is the key. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you what those are. By the way, this is our outline for today: A, B, A, C. And I'd love it if anybody can guess. You can guess which ones they are. All right. What's up, David Vance? Good to see you as well. Welcome to the show. Nobby Kleiman, my man, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if that's before, like I said, up, you're asleep, falling asleep, or waking up. Diana, good to see you. Made 5 videos. Congratulations on that. Yep, Star Wars Day. Gina, we're tracking you right now. All right, so let's get cranking. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump up to the second to the whiteboard, and the outline for today is similar to yesterday. I'm going to go for about 4 main points, and then I'm going to stop and pause and take your questions at the end. Okay, so this will be an interactive session. Please put your questions in chat, and then anyone who wants to take notes right into the chat feature, you're welcome to do that as well. Okay, so our outline for today is A, B, A, C. I'm going to cover what each of these are in just a second. Just by way of review, you'll remember that there are three parts, right, to making or getting paid what you're worth. The first one we talked about yesterday, that was mindset. The second one is what we're going to be talking about today, which is skill set. And then number 3 is action set. This is when you step up and take action. So our outline for the next 3 days is mindset, skill set is today, action set is tomorrow. In addition to that, I'm going to be sharing pricing strategies tomorrow as well. Now, just one overview as to the week, where we're going. Hey, Giovanni, good to see you, by the way. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you, as usual. So just a heads up of where we're going this week, and I have a special surprise for you that I'm going to announce in about 13 seconds. So first of all, this is today's show, How to Get Paid What You're Worth. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about entrepreneurial pricing strategies. Now, on Thursday, we're going to do something that I've done at almost every one of my live events for the last 5 years. I usually do a 1-hour session at my events. It's a optional private session where, let me put it this way. About 7 years ago, I learned a technique. I pulled together about 7 different techniques, and I learned a technique that I use on a fairly consistent basis, where I'm able to ask God questions about my business and get answers. It's a series of 3 questions, and when you ask it in a certain way, you almost always get some kind of an answer. And I will tell you, I've done this with live events before. Some of you have been at this before, and I have a 99% success rate. And I will tell you that the people that come into the room come from all walks of life. Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, New Age, atheists, everything. I had a person who is an atheist walk up to me with a full page of notes, and she said to me, I just got a full page of notes listening to God, and I'm an atheist. How do you explain that to me, Ed? And I said, well, you're the atheist. You have to explain it to me. Okay, so I can do this in a way that's very non-confrontational, not weird and manipulative. Okay, so on Thursday, I'm going to do something I never thought I would do live on YouTube. I'm going to do a session called How to Hear from God About Your Business. And this is going to be a very special and very interactive session. And truth is, I was going to do it over on Zoom so it could be all private and stuff. But I said, you know what? We're just going to do this live. And that's going to be on Thursday. And I will tell you, if you're a spiritual person, you're going to love this. If you're a person that has been hurt somehow by spirituality, or you have had a bad experience with that, welcome to the club. You definitely need to be there. Okay, so if you're angry at God or something like that, now's your time to come. I've seen amazing things happen out of this session that I can tell you about when we get there. Okay, and then Friday we're going to do open Q&A. By the way, I've got some guests planned for you next week that you're not going to believe. Okay, so mindset, skill set, action set. Let's get into the teaching and the training for today and have some fun. All right, so hang with me for a second. If you just joined us, this is How to Get Paid What You're Worth. My name is Ed Rush. We are in part 2, actually, of this series talking about how to get paid what you're worth. Now, the outline for today is A, B, A, C, and I'm going to be talking about each of these 4 things as we go. But the first one is attracting attention. Okay, so when it comes to getting paid what you're worth, one of the very first things you need to do as a business owner or entrepreneur is attract the eyeballs of the people who need to be attracted to you. Okay, now, the truth is, in the world that we live in right now, the world is attracted to the wrong things. It's like a moth to a flame, okay? And so, for example, I have no idea what the Kardashians do. I have no idea what contribution they make to the planet at large. I don't know what products, or I don't even think they actually offer anything in return for the attention that they get. And my sense is if the world was paying attention to you and to your message, you would probably be leading them in a better direction than all of the other people right now up in Hollywood who are getting their attention. Okay, so as a business owner, your step number one to getting paid what you're worth is to attract the right market while simultaneously repelling the wrong market. And you've seen me talk about this before, but if you have, for example, a book on Amazon and you have 50 5-star reviews, you've actually done something wrong. An ideal book actually has about 8 to 12 1-star reviews. I know that sounds crazy, okay? But here's the thing. When you write something that really moves people, it actually pushes some of the wrong people away. So you saw an example of that actually just in today's show when I said, look, on Thursday, I'm going to be doing this show called How to Hear from God About Your Business. When I do that, I will tell you there's a small percentage of people that go, look, I don't want anything to do with any of that stuff. And they're repelled by that, and that's okay, because there is another percentage of people who are like, man, that's pretty cool. I've never heard of that before. And you know what, Ed? People say this, okay, I'm not kidding you. People come up to me at events and say this. I liked you before, but now I really like you. Thank you for being bold about that, okay? So in marketing, one of your jobs is to attract attention from the right audience while simultaneously repelling the wrong audience, okay? And so that's why step number one is to attract attention. Now, there's 2 ways that I'm gonna outline how to do this today, but there's more than just 2. So for example, one of the strategies for attracting attention is developing what is called a unique selling proposition. This is what makes you different from everyone else in the marketplace. So for example, the most used, I think, example of a great USP is Domino's Pizza. So when Domino's came into the pizza world, there was Pizza Hut, there was Little Caesars, there was a massive amount of competition in the delivery of pizza world. And what Domino's came out with when they first came onto the scene, this is back in the 80s, Domino's came out with a simple statement that said, hot, fresh pizza delivered within 30 minutes guaranteed. That fundamentally was a unique selling proposition. They said, look, we're going to get you your pizza in 30 minutes or else it's yours. Okay, now I know Domino's had some issues, drivers driving into walls and stuff like that with pizza in their car, okay? But the 30 minutes was a unique angle into a market where when you used to call the local pizza place and order, you didn't know if it was coming in 20 minutes or 2 hours, right? You'd call back and Giuseppe would be like, look, we're really busy, it'll be there, you know? And then you know, hey, I can call Domino's. Now the interesting thing about the Domino's pizza, hot, fresh pizza delivered in 30 minutes guaranteed, is you notice in that USP, they don't talk anything about how good the pizza is. That's not even important. The important thing was it's delivered within 30 minutes, okay? So it's you creating a uniqueness into the marketplace. And I can tell you that it doesn't matter who you are, okay? It doesn't matter what you've done. There is a way to create a unique selling proposition, okay? And it's the answer to this question. Here's why you should work with me, right? Here's why this is unique. Here's why I'm different from everyone else and therefore I can help you. That is a unique selling proposition. So for example, for me, one of the angles to my unique selling proposition is the principle of acceleration, okay? So most of you know I was a former F-18 fighter pilot, flew a Top Gun graduate, flew in combat, was a leading instructor in the Marine Corps for 1-against-1 dogfighting. So speed has always been my thing, right? So when I come in to work with a business owner, part of my goal with them is to accelerate what they do using some of the principles that I learned in the cockpit. That turns into a USP because if someone's thinking about working with someone else, they look at one person and then they look at me and they go, well, yeah, but he's the guy that does it faster, okay? That turns into a unique selling proposition, okay? Now, the second one that flows onto this, but is separate from a unique selling proposition, okay, is you being different, right? Or what I should say is perceived as different. And this is actually really important because you might not actually be that different from everyone else, right? But you could be potentially perceived as different from someone else, okay? So the perception in the marketplace of your distinguishing feature, okay, is what can potentially make you stand out. Now, here's what I say about this. This is why I say perceive is so important. So for example, I've got it sitting right here, hang on. For example, most of you have read my book called 21 Day Miracle, all right? So now this book goes against a commonly held belief system in the personal development world, and that commonly held belief system goes like this: the tortoise wins. Okay, you've heard that story before, right? The tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race, which is total BS, right? Because you know as well as I do that it's speed and precision that actually wins, right? Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine for a moment if we went to combat in F-18s with the mantra, slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady. We would have lost every war we ever fought in, okay? Slow and steady did not win World War II at Normandy, right? A massive speed attack, right? Overwhelming force is what won at Normandy, not slow and steady wins the race. So this book essentially takes the idea that speed, that these short bursts are what create champions. It's what creates winners. Now, here's the interesting thing. Remember what I said about perception? Remember what I said about people perceiving things? When it comes to marketing, here's the interesting thing, okay? This book right here, this book is not a new principle in the success world. Look, people have been talking about speed to market for years, but it is a new angle on a commonly held belief system or a commonly held success system, which is speed to market. It's wrapped up in a new shell. So some of you are familiar with the book Miracle Morning. It's my friend Hal Elrod who wrote that book. It's a phenomenal success. And I'll tell you, I love how the book is amazing and he's amazing. So don't get me wrong when I'm going to tell you this, but that's not new. It's not something new. Like 21 Day Miracle, again, is not something new. It's a rewrap. It's a new package around a commonly held belief system. For example, it's been taught for hundreds, maybe thousands of years that if you want to get stuff done, wake up early, okay? Miracle Morning is a continuity of that thought wrapped up into a new package. And that's what I mean about perception of difference, okay? So this is the first one as an entrepreneur. If you want to get paid what you're worth, the first thing you need to do is attract attention. All right, so I'm going to jump back into chat really quickly, and you all are allowed to start guessing what B, what A, and what C is. I'll bet you'll get it. I'll bet you'll get it. Some of you are going to get it dialed in, okay? So let me say hello to some of my folks here in chat. What did Gina say that everybody, okay. Implementation on the first paid client this morning. I asked for a testimony from a friend who did pay me a lot, but a bit, after I advised them on how to successfully make some big life business changes, and boom, everybody's like, here we go. Congratulations. All are in order. Look at that. I love that. Hello, Melanie McFadden. Greetings from your old hometown. That is Motown, Philly right there. So congratulations to you. Let's see. Giovanni says, Ed is, I like that. Thank you for that. Very nice. Can create the uniqueness of your services. That's exactly right. And David Zetz used a term that I teach inside of a course called The Secret Weapon. Some of you have this course, by the way. I'll show it to you really quickly. This is my go-to persuasion course called The Secret Weapon. And inside of The Secret Weapon, David is referring to a principle that I teach called owning the ground. It's actually a military principle that I brought into business where you take the ground on which the discussion is actually happening. So good catch, dude. I like that. Thank you, Dr. Wendy Lee says, your t-shirts have been great. Thank you for that. It's awesome. All right, so let's get to B. And again, you're allowed to start guessing what these are. This is 4 steps to getting paid what you're worth. All right, so let's get to number 2. All right, so if you just joined us, my name's Ed Rush. This is How to Get Paid What You're Worth, part 2 of what's going to end up being a 3-part series on attracting the kind of money into your business and life that you deserve. The first of the series of training that we're doing today is A, attract attention, okay? B, and this is like so important, okay? And I'm going to tell you, I've worked with over 440 business owners one-on-one. I'm about to do 441 tomorrow, right here in San Diego, by the way, doing a coaching day. I can't wait. I haven't done a one-on-one coaching day for like 2.5 months. Boom, Dr. Thomas Ashton coming into town. tomorrow, and I can't wait to actually work with you. So here it is right here. Speak in benefits. All right. This is number 2. Now, let me explain what I mean by benefits. So most of you know this, but if you don't, a benefit is something that has to do with the person you're talking to. A feature has to do with the product that you're offering, the service that you're offering, or you, okay? So, for example, if I said, you know what, I've been in business for 14 years. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about how long you've been in business, because the average person doesn't make a logical leap between how long you've been in business and what that means to them, okay? Which is the reason why one of the phrases that I like to use is, here's what this means to you. Because when you say that, you almost always have to speak in a benefit next. So let me do this way. Hey, guess what? I've been in business for 14 years. And here's what this means to you. I've seen ups, I've seen downs. I've seen the boom, I've seen the bust, and I've worked with over 400 business owners on their way to make more money, have a bigger impact in the world, and change their lifestyle. I've worked with some of the biggest brands, and what that means is when I look you in the eye and tell you, do this, this will work, I'm 100% sure that the strategies that I'm showing to you will work. And I know you've worked with a lot of people before who've given you a lot of recommendations, but I can guarantee you no one's ever said, do this, this will work. That's the kind of certainty you can have when you walk out of my office. Do you see how you take a feature, a meaningless feature, by the way, been in business for 14 years, and turn it into a meaningful benefit? And in this particular case, the meaningful benefit was certainty, okay? So when you're communicating in order to attract wealth or in order to attract a deal, one of the most important steps is to turn it into something that works for them. Now, one of the indicators that you as a business owner can listen to as you're communicating is the kind of pronoun that you're using in your sentences. I would suggest to you that most business owners use this pronoun most of the time. I've been in business for 14 years, and I did this, and I did this, and we did this, right? It's all first person stuff. I, we, we, that's weak, okay? Okay, so speaking about yourself, you're allowed to do that, but you can only do that in the context of conversations when you bridge into the prospect, when you bridge into the person that you're talking to. Did you catch that? So you are allowed to talk about yourself, but only insofar as you're bringing it to the prospect. Let me give you another example of how I do this. So for example, you've been to these networking events before where people walk up to you and go, so tell me what you do. It's like the same question every time. So tell me what you do. You know, oh my gosh, I can't stand those. But anyway, so the question, when somebody asks you, so tell me what you do, that question is a trick question. Because when someone tells you, when someone asks you, tell me what you do, when they say that to you, here's what they're really saying. Talk about me. For real. They're not saying, tell me more about you. They're not actually even interested in you. They're interested in themselves. Because remember, everyone listens to their favorite radio station, which is WIIFM. What's in it for me? And fundamentally, they're interested in this conversation because it may have something to do with them. Okay? So play that game. Here's how I answer that question. They say, so tell me what you do. And I say, I'm a former F-18 fighter pilot, and I work with busy entrepreneurs and business owners to help you make more money, have a bigger impact on the world, and live a greater lifestyle. Did you see that? Did you catch that? Did you hear how long it took me for me to change the pronoun in this sentence from I to you? It took less than a sentence. Former F-18 fighter pilot, I work with busy entrepreneurs and business owners to help you make more money, have a bigger impact, change the world. Okay, now, some of you are like English majors, and you just heard the sentence that I did, and you're like, can't do that in a sentence. Not allowed, Ed, to change the subject in the sentence. And I will tell you, if you're writing a novel, you're probably right about that. If you're writing marketing, you're wrong, okay? Because I'll tell you, you come to my events, you'll hear me change in the middle all the time. hey, I work with busy entrepreneurs and business owners just like you to make more money. Okay, right there. Now, next thing you know, I'm talking about you. All right. So this is the most important thing. I have a challenge for you. Go to your website right now. Look at your website and see how much I's and we's there are and how many you's there are. Your website should speak directly to the prospect on the pages that they're looking at. Okay. Now, if you need some help with this, it's very simple. Just start saying, here's what this means to you. Here's what this means to you. Here's what this means to you. Okay. So, for example, yesterday Gina asked a question where she said, "What if I've never done this before?" You know, which sounds to me, Gina, like that's becoming not a problem anymore for you after one day, by the way. Congratulations. So she said, "What if I've never done this before?" Remember, that's not a question about you. That's a question about the prospect that you're looking at. And you could say, actually, right now, I'm putting together a beta group of my very first clients. And here's what this means to you. Not only are you going to get a great discount, but you're going to be one of my beta subjects that I'm going to be doing case studies around. So you're going to get all kinds of business and traffic even from my case studies, right? That's taking a perceived weakness even and turning it into a benefit, okay? So the first one is attract attention. The second one is to speak in benefits. I'm gonna get to 3 and 4 in a second. I'm gonna jump in the chat and just catch up real quick. Before I do that, does anybody wanna guess what A and C is? You've heard these two before, by the way. If you were with us with Mike McIntyre, we talked a little bit about this. So attract attention, U.S.P, perceived as different, speed and precision. Speed. All right, Gina Longo, good job. Good guess. Number 2, speaking benefits. Thank you, Giovanni. I appreciate it. WIFM. Here's what this means to you. David Zett says, just finished The Secret Weapon. It nails. Currently, on day 9 of Time Freedom Miracle, tonight at being a strategic advisor. Here's what this means to you. Get the bundle. That's good. I'm going to give you a discount, by the way, for The Secret Weapon in a minute if you want it. Yes. Okay. I'll cover this question actually right now. So Dr. Wendy Lee says, when I use you, I feel like it makes me speak to them, not including myself in the struggle. I more often use we as in what we need as humans when we move our bodies. Okay. So I having studied communication for over 20 years now, I will tell you that most doctors, teachers, and especially people who work in the physical fitness world use the phrase we. Remember that the person who's working with you isn't actually all that interested in you. And oftentimes people use the word we to bring themselves, like you said, into the conversation or into the struggle. But remember, people aren't necessarily looking, they know that you have empathy, right? So I'm not saying that you don't have empathy. What people are looking for is for someone to look them in the eye with certainty and confidence and say, here's what you need to do, okay? And it's been my experience as an advisor to some of the biggest businesses and brands in the world that kind of certainty is what actually gets people into action sometimes, okay? So I look at my advising clients and I say, here's what you need to do, or do this will work. Second person singular. When I speak in front of an audience of people, 10 people to 10,000 people, when I speak in second person singular. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you should do is this. I speak to the single person because remember, people want you to be speaking directly to them. Like for example, Dr. Wendy Lee, I'm speaking directly to you and answering your question. It has been my experience that people who say weak sound, or people who say we, as they speak, they do sound weaker because you're not taking, remember, people want to know who's in charge, right? So for example, like if you get on an airplane, this is the question, by the way. So if you get on an airplane and you're airborne and all of a sudden you feel a bump and the pilot comes up and goes, well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a slight problem with one of our engines and we're most likely going to be diverting this airplane. But I was just wondering, since we're all in this together, we should just collaborate on potentially what the solution is. No, okay, you don't want that at all, right? If you find out that you had cancer, you don't want the doctor to come to you and be like, I don't know, what do you think you should do about it, right? You want them to go, hey, look, you want a doctor, if you just found out you got cancer, hold your hand and go, look, Wendy, listen, I've worked with thousands of people with this, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get you through this. If you want that pilot to be like, hey folks, we've got a little problem with our engine. We're going to be diverting. Don't you worry. I've seen this before, and you're in good hands. I'm going to take care of you. That's the kind of thing that you want from that person who's communicating that. So it's been my experience that saying you, second person singular, is the way to go. Gina says that literally the phrase, so here's what this means to you on a page I'm building it right now. I love, 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 love. All right, my man. Oh, yeah, I love it. That's so great. All right, so A. Dude's been studying his stuff. All right, I'm going to get to this in a second. So, if you just joined us, this is How to Get Paid What You're Worth. My name is Ed Rush. We're going through a series on how to make money using your ideas and your time and your experience. We're right in the middle of a section talking about skill set. Yesterday, we talked about mindset. If you want to go back and watch that video, you should. Now, we just covered attracting attention, speaking in benefits. And the third one, because David Zetz was on it, A is ask for the sale. Bonus points, by the way, brother, if you get the last one. Okay, so A is ask for the sale. Zig Ziglar once said, timid salespeople have skinny kids. So sometimes the reason why you don't have the resources in your business is nothing more than asking. So I was working with someone just 2 weeks ago who has a very successful for-profit business and a very not successful non-profit business. And I was working with him to help move the ball and help launch this non-profit business. And in the discussion, we had about 50 people, interested people on a informational session. And on the informational session, he said, look, if we had this much money, we could do this. And if we had this much money, we could do this. And here's the place where you can become a monthly donor. And almost everyone had been following this person and this movement for over 2 years. And almost everyone to a person said, oh my gosh, I never even knew I could donate to this. So you think about that for a second. One of the best marketers in the world, dude's 7-figure range, helping people and selling products, but over here, forgot to simply do this, okay? Listen, it is not common. In fact, it's infinitesimally, I don't know why I try to use these big words, you say the word. All right, it's tiny, you remember Elmer Fudd when he's like infantitida, it's small. All right, so I'm gonna just do it that way. It's the smallest, teeny, tiny percentage of people who just wake up one morning and send you a check. Almost every time you get paid as an entrepreneur, it's because you're out there asking for the sale. Now, in a group environment, one of the ways you can ask for a sale is just to make an offer. Like, for example, in just a moment, I'm going to show you my secret weapon persuasion course and give you a little bit of a discount if you want to take that, okay? So that's me making a compelling offer to invest in something one to many. Okay, but one to one, if I'm working with somebody that is interested in working with me, to ask for the sale is so simple. I'm going to do this. You ready? Just grab a pen and write this down. It goes like this. So, are you ready to get started working together? That's it. Like, you know how people are all like, well, you know, you have to have the courage to ask for the sale. Do you know how easy it is to ask for the sale? It goes like this. Gina, you just go like this. So, are you ready to get started working together? And then at that point, they're going to say one of 3 things, but it's really only one of 2 things. Okay, the first thing they might say is yes, and usually there's an exclamation point along with that. The second one they might say is no. Now, here's the thing about no. You've heard me say this before. Nobody ever says no. They don't. Nobody ever, because they don't want to disappoint you. So if they don't want to do it, they're going to be like, well, let me sleep on it, okay? And so what happens is the third thing because no doesn't happen, so the third thing, but really the second thing that might happen is they might have a little objection. They might have a reason why they're not ready to move forward. Well, I need to sleep on it. I need to talk to my wife. I'm not sure I have the money. Is there some kind of a guarantee? What if it doesn't work? Have you ever done this before? I've tried this internet stuff before and it didn't work. Those are all just objections. And the good news is, if they're asking those, every time you answer one of those, you get closer and you get closer and you get closer to the sale. Now, this right here, asking for the sale, It's just like asking someone out on a date, all right? Look, y'all have done it. I don't care what your gender is. Everybody's done this. You know what I mean? Like you're there, you got somebody that you might be a little bit interested in. You kind of start the conversation, and then you're like, dang, this is the part where I got to ask, you know? And then you ask, and then she's like, cool, you know? Or he's like, oh, awesome. Yeah, let's grab dinner or whatever, okay? Or they're like, sorry, I'm kind of busy. And then you know, like it's good either way, right? In one sense, you're going to dinner. In another sense, you're like, fine, didn't want to talk to you anyway, okay? All right, that's this right here. So step 1 is attract attention. Step 2 is to speak in benefits. Step 3 is to ask for the sale. I'm going to go to step 4 in a second, but before I do that, I'm going to jump into chat and say, hey, and somebody's got it. David said credit card number. Close. I just hinted at it, by the way. Dennis says closed. Gina says charge what you're worth. Coffee and cake. That's what you get for 3 o'clock in the morning. Infinitesimal. Oh, man. You guys crack me up. All right. So we're going to get to the last one, and then I'm going to take your questions. And I will have time today for a few minutes of questions. I got less than 8 minutes left. All right. So I can't believe you guys didn't get it. I'll get there. All right. Let me get some coffee. If you just joined us, my name's Ed Rush. This is How to Get Paid What You're Worth, Part 2. Part 1 was yesterday. And by the way, if you watch these on video, you'll see the timestamps are below you in the description that have an outline. So the first one was attract attention. Number 2 is speak in benefits. Number 3 was to ask for the sale. Number 4 in the selling process is very simple, which is to counter objections. Now, this process here goes back and forth, okay? Because fundamentally, once you've attracted someone to you, once you've discussed what you can do in their life, in their business, in benefit format, once you've asked for the sale, then all you're doing at this point is going back and forth between these two until you get paid, okay? So in part 3, I mentioned a few of the things that would be considered objections. So for example, somebody might come to you and go, yeah, but I need to sleep on it. Or, okay, but I'm going to go home and talk to my husband about this one. Or they might say, you know, I've tried this before and it didn't work. How do you know it's going to work this time? Or they might say, do you have some sort of a guarantee? Or they might say, have you ever done this before? Which they probably won't, but they might. Or they might say, oh, wow, I'm really interested in this. It's just that I'm not sure the price. I'm not sure I can afford it, okay? Now, the good news is if they're offering objections, and by the way, I don't love the word objections. I think I'm going to change this to something else at some point, but really what they are fundamentally are questions. They're just questions. Now, here's the thing. If you've got to this point and they're engaging with you around the offer, you're in good shape, because they wouldn't be engaging with you around the offer if they weren't interested. The best news I can give you is by the time you get to a discussion of the price, once you're talking or negotiating around the price, you are almost there. Because when somebody discusses price, all of the other objections have gone away, okay? So the good news, sometimes as people who are offering things, right, in sales, sometimes you get a little nervous when somebody starts talking about the price. But listen, when somebody starts talking about the price, good news is coming because you're almost there, right? So smile when somebody talks about the price. So let's talk for a moment about a common objection. And I'm going to give you a common objection, and then I'm going to take you through a little decision tree on how you might answer this common objection. Now, let's say that the person at the end of your discussion, you're like telling them all the things you can do, you discuss the price just a little bit, then you say, so, are you ready to get started working together? And they go, man, I'm really interested in this. I'm very excited to work with you. And then you hear him breathe. It's just that I just think I really need to think about this one. I need to sleep on it, okay? Now, it's been my experience that about half of the time, 50% of the time, when somebody says, I need to sleep on it, what they're actually saying to you is, I really want to do this. I'm just not sure if I have the money to pay you right now, okay? So let's say for example, that the thing you offered them was $5,000. And let's say they're truly interested in it, like they really want to work with you. You get to this and you get to the end and the questions, and then they go, I really just need to think about this. Okay, about half the time, what they're saying to you is, I don't have $5,000 liquid right now to give to you, okay? Or I'm not even sure if I have $5,000, they're saying to you, on my credit card. So I'm going to tease that out of my client, and this is the way I'm going to do it. And by the way, those of you who've worked with me and been to my trainings before know that a lot of what I teach is this way of speaking. It's very seamless and very conversational. Some would call it scripting. It's designed to get people to respond to you positively, okay? So one of the very first things I'll say, and this is a line that I use all the time when I'm communicating with people, I'll just go like this. The first thing I'll say is, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Okay, so all I want to do at first when somebody asks a question is I just want to make them know it's okay that you just asked this question. I want to make them comfortable in the fact that we can have this conversation. I don't want to be one of those salespeople. You've seen these people who are like, well, you know, it won't make a difference in my bottom line if you say no, but it'll make a big difference in yours. You know, don't be weird. Don't be manipulative. That's good. That's good. That's really good. Okay, so I'll just pause and they say, I just want to think about it. I'll say, that's good. That's good. That's really good. You know, one of the things, let's say my prospect is John. I'll say, John, you know, when somebody says to me that they want to sleep on it, sometimes that means you really do need to think about it. And other times that means there's maybe like one or two things, maybe one or two questions remaining that if we were just to answer those questions, we'd get started working together today. So let me ask you, is there anything in your mind left over? Are there any other questions that you have? Or maybe is it the price? Do you see how I did that? So I'm going to lead them into a nice comfortable space where if the price is the issue, they can tell me that, okay? So I'm going to do that one more time. That's good, that's good, that's really good. Listen, John, when people say they need to sleep on it, to me, sometimes that means you really just need to sleep on it. But other times when people tell me that, usually that means there's one or two things remaining that if we were just to answer those one or two questions, we'd be ready to move forward together on this. So let me ask you, is there any other questions? Are there any other questions that you have or anything remaining? For example, the price? Did you catch that? So I'm gonna build up this place where we're in this safe spot, and then at the very end, I'm gonna go, is it the price? And then I'm gonna wait for the reaction. Okay, and the reaction might go like this. No, I think the price is great. That's great. That's great for you. Now you know the price is good, okay? There's no negotiation to do. But what's more likely to happen is if you go, is it the price? What's more likely is you'll see the body language and they'll go, they'll like let all the guard down because you just hit it, okay? And they'll go, yeah, you know, I'm just not sure. Look, and a lot of times they'll say this, Ed, look, I know you're worth it. I'm just not sure we're able to pay this right now, and I'm not sure where we're going to be able to get the money from, okay? So when I hear that, I'm like, we are good to go. I've got a deal. Now I just got to work on this number, okay? So there are a few options of things that you can do here. There's more than a few. There's about 10 different price counter options, and I'm going to give you like 1.5 right now just to get you thinking about it, all right? So a couple of the options. One option, by the way, you can discount it down if you want to take the price down. Another option is you can split it into payments, which is often what I'll do. Like I might just say, I would say, John, that's fine. Let me ask you a question. What do you think you could do on a monthly basis? Do you think you could do 2,500? Oh yeah, we could sure do 2,500. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just break this up into two payments, 2,500 now, 2,500 30 days from now. You already told me you could do 2,500 a month, and that way we can get started now, but you can spread the payments. So you ready to get started working with that? Right? That's about as quickly as I'm going to do it, okay? Or what I might do is ask John a question like this, and I'm moving fast, I know, through some of the scripting stuff, but I might go like this, John, just out of curiosity, give me a ballpark range. Did you catch that, by the way? Ballpark range. Just give me a ballpark range of something that may work within your budget. What is that? 4? Right? I might just throw that out there. What is that? 4? Okay, and he goes, yeah, I think, you know, I think 4 could probably work for us. Okay, now, did you catch how I did that, all that ballpark range stuff? Now, the last thing I'm going to teach you right here is a very important technique. And this technique is called, let me see if I've got room down here. I'll just do it up here. This is called the yes before the yes. Very important technique, okay? A lot of people in sales mess this one up. Let's say I'm going to take my price from 5,000 to 4,000. And I said to John, I said, give me a number, ballpark, a range, 4K? Does that work? And he goes, I think that might, yeah. That might be better for us. Then I'm going to say, John, let me ask you a question. Assuming I could get us down to $4,000 for this whole package that we just talked about, assuming I can do that, I'm assuming you'd be ready to move forward on this deal today. Did you catch that? Because now he said, yeah, 4 is kind of good. And I go, look, let me ask you a question. If I could take it down, would you, it essentially says, if I could take it down, would you say yes? Now, here's the cool thing about this. Based on that discussion I just had, he can't actually say no. Because I just said, what is it, 4? He goes, probably 4. I go, look, if I can get you to 4, he's not going to go, no. He'll go, yeah, if you can get it to 4, okay. Once he says yes, I know I have a deal because I already got the yes, right? So I say, if I could get it to 4, I'm assuming we move forward. He says, yeah, I think I can do that. And then I go, great, I'll take it down to 4. I'll draw up the paperwork and we're good. We got a deal, right? And he would say yes, and then you're going to move forward. That's a technique, again, called the yes before the yes, okay? So I'm going to come back to the center camera here real quick. Hang on. Oops. This is called, in the F-18, when you start pushing the wrong buttons, it's called a finger fire. All right. All right, I'm going to sit down and answer your questions. I've got about 5 minutes left for that. Before I do that, I want to mention this course David Zetz mentioned. I created a coupon code because coupon codes are getting very popular these days in my world. By the way, I've had about 20 products sold within the last week from our community and from a couple other communities that I've been offering little products here and there. So every single time, I know it's breaking all my rules about discounting, but I figured, well, with what's going on, we might as well do that. So here's what I did today for this course. This is the one that David Zetz was talking about. He just went through. By the way, this thing is awesome. And I am biased, but that doesn't mean I'm not right. This course, by the way, where is this? I created a little banner for this. The website is right here. It's edrush.com/secretweapon. This is my persuasion training course. It comes in 3 levels. Level number 1 is called boot camp. Level number 2 is called weapons training. And level number 3 is called Jedi Master Level. It's why I'm wearing the Star Wars shirt. Jedi Master Level, I'll just put it to you this way. Jedi Master Level is so powerful that when you learn these 4 persuasion strategies, and by the way, it's just 10 minutes a day for 21 days, this course, okay? So it's not a deep investment of time. There's more than that content-wise, but that's the syllabus of what I want you to go through. When you get to the 3rd level of this teaching, Jedi Master Level, you actually have to promise to use the strategies for good because they're so powerful. You could literally go off and create a cult or something like that if you wanted to, which I don't want you to do, okay? So the website is edrush.com/secretweapon, and the coupon code is the word secret. So when you get down here, this is right here on the 1 page. Check it out. When you click on this and you type in the word secret, and this is for this works for this course, not for the bundle, by the way. It takes $500 off and makes it $997, and that's a great deal, by the way, for this particular product. Okay, so this is my offer. Oh wait, I should have been showing that to you when I did that. Hang on. When you click on this, sorry, when you click on this and type in secret, it's $997. It takes $500 and makes $997. All right, so edrush.com/secretweapon. That is my persuasion communication master course. And let me tell you, you might have gone to school and got a doctorate, but the one doctorate you need is WIIFM, a doctorate in how to communicate so people say yes to you. All right, so if you're interested in making more, doubling your income, 10xing your income, easily attracting more people, and communicating in such a way that people go, oh man, I want to work with you, that's the one to do it. All right, so let's see. Thank you, Barry. Number 1, by the way, attract attention. Number 2, benefits. Number 3, ask for the sale. Number 4, counter objections. Remember Russell Crowe's movie, The Beautiful Mind? I know he went crazy, but still. Gizzy, objections, excuses not to move forward. Hello, John Teague. Good to see you, buddy. How are you? This is indeed the weapon. It's edrush.com/secretweapon. David Zett says, Jedi Master level. I started using that phrase in my fitness programs and people are going nuts. Edwin, I just got finished studying the videos in Secret Weapon. This course is awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Went through Jedi Mastermind section. Thank you very much. Awesome. KMJC. Cool. Thank you for that. All right, so I've got just 3 minutes left. So if you have any questions, throw those into chat. While I'm doing that, a quick summary of what we covered today. What's up, Brock Shinan? Just saw that. Hey, Frank. Oh, there you are. Okay, cool. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. My man, Brock. Dude, we need to do an interview, buddy. You let me know. Brock Shinan, if y'all don't know, Brock is the attorney behind some of the biggest bands in the world. And he's a good guy, and he's a good friend, and he's a good guy. Okay. Thank you, Nobby. You're the best. You're going to keep putting that in there until it happens, buddy. And you never know. You never, ever know. So Ed Rush for America, by the way, is the website if you want to find out more about the movement that we're trying to start. And if you're interested in becoming a leader in our world, on the political level, I'm thinking about doing a leadership training event this fall, just for that topic. It's not a business event. It's not my big fall event that we're going to do. It's an intensive to try to start training people who want to lead at the national level, because heaven knows we need some good leaders to step up. So cool. Thank you, Brock. Let's do it, dude, next week. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. Let me just do a quick recap of where we were. So yesterday we did part 1. Today we did part 2 of how to get paid what you're worth. Tomorrow I'm going to take you through entrepreneurial pricing strategies. I don't know why I decided to put some French word in there that I can barely pronounce. There are 6 different pricing strategies you can use as an advisor, consultant, coach. I'm going to be covering all 6. I'm also going to be covering online and offline product and service pricing strategies. Okay, so even if you're a small business owner, I'm going to be sharing some strategies on price that are significant for you. And then we'll have a little bit more time tomorrow for Q&A about everything we covered Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. This is a pretty big week of teaching. Thursday, we're going to take a pause on the business, on the persuasion discussion, and we're going to do a session called How Do You Hear From God About Your Business? And I'll tell you, I'm going to teach you a tool that you're going to be able to use to break through barriers for the rest of your life. It's very powerful, and many of you have been through this session of mine. It's going to be awesome, and then Friday we're just going to have fun, all right? We're going to chat through all of that stuff on Friday. This is the website below, by the way, which is The Secret Weapon. There's Brock. He said, boo, let's do it. All right, so I'm going to go back to what I said right in the beginning, which is I want you to imagine for a moment. I'm imagining it too. I want you to imagine a 0 at the end of that income of yours. What does that look like for you? Million? 10 million? Seriously, add a 0. Doesn't work if you're not making anything. Add a 0 and imagine that. If you're not making anything, just make up a number. $1 million, I don't know. I want you to imagine that for a second, and imagine what that would be like to be able to get that over the next 12 to 18 months. That's possible for you when you combine 3 things: mindset, skill set, and your action set. When you take what you've learned and put it into action. And I can tell you, the myth that there's no money out there or people aren't spending money on, that's a total myth, right? Because the people that you want to target anyway are people with money, and people with money have money. They have money to invest in the things that they want and the change that they want in their life, okay? So, click the like button below, click the share button, would you please? Tell your friends about the show. It'll take them right to the recording and right to the beginning of the show. I'll stick around and chat for just a few minutes to say hello. Just know the world's either going to get worse and we're going to be in charge, or the world's going to get better and we're going to be in charge. Either way, when we all get out of our bunkers here in the next week, probably, you're going to be better, faster, and stronger. This is EdTalks Live. I will see you tomorrow.